Thunderbolts is now out, marking the 57th project in the MCU. So why not rank them all? This ranking will include the movies, the shows, the specials, all of it, all in the MCU. Since there is so much projects, I'm going to be doing it what I did for my Disney ranking and talk about the film in like a sentence and then move on. I'll have a rating pop up on the screen so I can infer more of it if I didn't really say everything I wanted to say with that one sentence. Since there's so many projects to talk about, one sentence to share my entire thoughts on it should be good. And let's just say I have a lot of MCU hot takes. A lot of the projects in the MCU I do like. There is not a lot I do not like, but there are a few on here that I do not like. And one of those I don't like is considered a popular favorite film. So before we start, if you want to rank all these projects, leave yours down below. And with that, let's start. Talk about a show that absolutely does not work on rewatch. Completely wasted the character, and you can tell Marvel had no idea what they were doing. This movie will go down as the most pointless movie in the entire MCU. At least Jonathan Majors was the best part of it. What a waste for your first Captain America movie with Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson deserves so much better. A huge waste opportunity from Marvel. You could have made this a 12-episode series with 1-hour-long episodes exploring stuff we didn't know about Nick Fury. And do not get me started on that finale. Completely lost the what if concept by the end of it. And then you're just asking the question, why are you making these episodes when you can make better episodes? Same problems with season 3, but I enjoyed a lot more episodes this time around. But this season was very much more Captain Carter heavy. Very much just okay. Story wasn't really anything interesting, and a lot more stuff needed to be fleshed out. A movie that never really interested me. I wasn't a fan of the villain and never really understood the direction that they were going with that. And a lot of things just stayed unanswered from this movie, from the rest of the MCU. Depending on my mood, I don't like this movie or I like it. I just find it okay sometimes. The first season of What If is easily the best because it had the best episode out of the entire bunch and actually felt like What If. It was just still messing up the concept of it and we could have gotten better episodes. The first half of the show was good and I liked the character of Moon Knight, but by the end of the show, it got way too over the top and completely lost the concept of the show. Now I do like the Dark World more than most people, but not by much. Sweet, innocent fun. That's all Season 2 is really meant to be, and that's what it gives us. Ant-Man's a funny character. We add a Wasp in there, so he has more of a dynamic between the two. Plot could have been stronger, though. Same thing with Season 2. I like Season 1 the same way. Sweet, innocent fun. I just like the shorts more in the first season. People love this movie. I was never on that train and never really understood the love for it. I enjoy it, but by the final act, I didn't really like it and never understood the love for it. I absolutely do not see why people don't like this character or this movie. A great introduction to Thor showing us what this character's like. Tony Stark being Tony Stark in this movie and him having more of an arc. I love Miss Marvel, I love her backstory, and Iman Vellani is the perfect casting for the character, but I just wish the show was better in the middle act. Ant-Man is a really funny character, and I love watching him on screen. I might be the only She-Hulk fan. I do not think the show is funny, but I enjoyed what they did with the show, and of course Jennifer is She-Hulk, and she brings this character to life. The final battle though, what happened there, breaking the fourth wall like that, that's stupid. Definitely should have been a movie. Brave New World should have been the second Captain America movie, and this should have been the first. Where did all the hate come from for this? It did not deserve it in the slightest at all, and just served sweet, innocent fun. Compared to Netflix, a huge waste of opportunity and was missing something that's in that original show, but if you don't compare it to Netflix, It's a good season of television, but needed to be great. Got a few things right and messed up a lot of other things, but overall we got the Black Widow movie that we needed. Very much a comedy that does not land for everyone, but certainly did work for me. There's moments where I question what they're doing with this movie, but a great introduction to Doctor Strange. Just serves as a fun time. The first Spider-Man movie in the MCU, and a great one with that. Served as an emotional send-off to Chadwick Boseman in the MCU universe. A great Christmas show that I wish I was able to watch year-round every Christmas. The weakest Avengers movie, but definitely did flesh out these characters more before we get to stuff like Civil War. The team-up movie in the MCU that we longed waited for. Definitely should have closed off Phase 4, and that ending left me shaking by the end of it. I love how Eternals is different and stands out between every other movie in the MCU. I need a sequel. I will never understand how people do not enjoy this movie because I absolutely love it. Post-credit scene gets me hyped every single time, even though we have a movie following it up. Season 1 sets up a lot of things in Season 2, and still very much works on its own. Essentially Season 2 of Wandavision, and I remember before the show came out, no one wanted it, and it turns out to be one of the better Disney Plus shows. The best Thor movie where Thor is more of a mature character, and taking that approach that he needed for the Thor character. I love horror, that's exactly what Doctor Strange is, and I love what they did with this movie, and is following up Wandavision, which I still adore to this day. I still love the show, everything to do with it. I just find really smart, the sitcom stuff and everything. The villain kind of came out of nowhere and was rushed, but still holds up. Shang-Chi shows us what we liked about Marvel, and bringing a character that no one knows about and making him very likable. Although technically not in the MCU, it's on the Multiverse timeline, and this proves why Marvel knows what they're doing with the X-Men, showing them as a team instead of the Wolverine movie. A holiday special that I go back to every year because I love what they did with it, and since it's Guardians of the Galaxy related, it makes me like it 10 times more. The perfect send-off to Loki's character made me like the Loki character even more, especially how we closed off his character arc by the end of the show. Proves why Sony should give the rights back to Marvel because Marvel knows what they're doing with Spider-Man, and it needs to be more street level like this show. It has almost been a year since this movie came out, and it still holds up. Do not care for the hate on Twitter because it still holds up to this day and it's still a fun movie. But why was Thor crying? My least favorite Guardians movie just because Rocket is dying most of the movie so he's not really in it, but serves as an emotional send-off to these characters, while still keeping the same heart that the rest of the trilogy brought. 17 years ago, the MCU started with Iron Man, and it still holds up, and it's still the top 10 MCU film. The best origin story in the MCU. I love what they did with Captain America, the first Avenger. Such a treat to Spider-Man fans. Although you could argue it's just usually the gimmick of it, I don't care. I still love this movie. A movie that gets overly hated on. I have no idea why. It still has the heart of the first movie, and even the third movie, just a lot more funny. And that's what I loved about the characters of Guardians of the Galaxy. The perfect sequel to the first movie. The MCU continues Captain America's story with one of the best MCU movies there is. Great action, great character arcs, and a great spy story. The movie where it brought everyone together that made everyone realize Marvel can actually do a movie like this. James Gunn took a bunch of characters that no one even knew, a bunch of D-tier characters, and made them some of the best characters in the MCU, and maybe even the best characters in all of Marvel. This movie wouldn't work without all the previous MCU movies, and it has that emotional heartbreak and punch that it needs. The perfect way to wrap up the saga and end character arcs. was able to conclude storylines for all characters on a satisfying note. Definitely was an event at the time that I will never forget watching in theaters. There's a reason why this is the best MCU film and the best comic book film, because the Russo brothers were able to set up all these heroes for the ending of the Infinity Saga and set everything up that it needs to in here. The movie is packed with action and is extremely rewatchable and is what represents the entirety of the MCU. With that was my ranking of all 57 projects in the MCU. Movies, shows, specials, you name it. That was the entire ranking. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, maybe these ones on the side interest you too. Like, subscribe. See you guys next time. Goodbye.